Good morning, sir. My name is Miss Allen. I'm with New Orleans Pretrial Services. Today I'll be conducting an interview on you for two reasons. The first reason is to gather some information from you to present to the judge to help determine what type of bond you're eligible for. The second reason is to see if you're eligible for or meaning release on your own with Congress. Could you start off by giving me your date of birth?
The majority of our staff are born and raised here. You know, they're people who are from this community and are excited about having the opportunity to work in their community to make a difference. We're responsible for interviewing the defendant, conducting an extensive criminal background check, and then we apply a risk assessment to determine what the defendant's pretrial risk level is, to see if the person is a good candidate to be released while their case is pending. And then we give that information to the judge so that the judge is able to make an informed bond decision. In addition to those primary responsibilities, we have started a supervision program which gives judges the opportunity to affix conditions to defendants' bonds while their cases are pending, and will supervise whether or not the defendant is compliant with those conditions. You know, it gives judges more non-financial options for release.
I've been around the issue of criminal justice and the issue of who actually is in jail and who needs to be in jail and who should go. So around the issue of who stays and who goes. The issue of pretrial services comes right back to that same question. Who should be in jail and who can safely be at home, safely not be in jail? That is, are we housing people in jail because of what they are accused of doing and their criminal history and other background? Or are we housing people in jail simply because they're poor? We should never have people in jail simply because they're poor. Jail is intended for people who need to be kept away from the rest of us in society because of what they're accused of doing and because their background, we believe that they pose a threat. Those individuals should be maintained such that we can be safe from the threat we believe they impose. Other people, however, who come to jail for various and sundry reasons, they should only be in jail again for those reasons, not because of some health issue and not because they're poor. And so if we have a system that's objective in terms of determining this, and that I suggest is pretrial services, if we have a system that's objective in making those kinds of determinations, we need to use it. Use that system such then that they can provide the judges, provide the DA, provide the public defender with information they otherwise could not have, and therefore be able to make a good objective determination of whether they stay or whether they go.
At the moment, we have the anomaly that very dangerous people with enough money spend no time in jail, and people who pose no danger, who don't have the money, spend long, unnecessary amounts of time in jail, and pretrial services is a potential leveler of that. The use of pretrial services over the past few years is one of the things that we know for sure has lowered the number of people who are in our jail. We know historically we've had way too many people. This is a proven methodology for keeping the pressure on that number to be lower rather than higher. That's both a savings to our city because, you know, we pay for the operation of that jail, and again also, and more importantly, it's a matter of justice.
A lot of times here, we deal with people that don't have a lot of money, so they can't go and get their family members out of prison. And sometimes we deal with people whose family have to maybe choose between paying the light bill or paying a bond. And most times we just can't expect our family members to not pay a bill to get us out of jail. So what happens is that we sit there.
Without this pretrial assessment tool, everyone's thrown in the same basket. Everyone's assumed guilty and need to be locked up that we're so bad. This is the thing that we're trying to get the community to understand, because actually the community has bought the narrative that, you know, African Americans are bad. We're just gangs and drug dealers, and let's lock them up and throw away the key. And what is happening, we're creating criminals. Some child, some grandson who does something foolish, goes to jail, can't get out, stays back there longer than he should. Now he's getting a real education on how to be a criminal. Now he comes out much worse than he went in. He's mad, he doesn't have hope, and when he comes out, he's really, really angry about it. And so you have all of these young people who are really angry because what the system has done, and they're the people that are bumping into each other. So you get one person with no hope and angry, and you get another person with no hope and angry, somebody's gonna die. And when we have all this violence on our streets, it's because of people who the system is not willing to give a chance to. And this anger and this hopelessness, and so we have violence. And it doesn't have to be that way. Pretrial services gives hope because that individual that has been arrested, who may have and probably has done something wrong, it allows them to come out of jail without that long period where you lose the job, where you are detached from family, where all the connections begin to fall apart. Pretrial services assesses this individual and allows him or her to say, this is not danger or dangerous person for our society, and can be released until the time of trial. When pretrial services is not in place, that person sits and sits and sits.
We shouldn't have people in jail only because of the fact that they have no money. That's not a purpose for jail. And the people who you're releasing from jail can be released such that they pose no greater threat to this community than those who would be released on a bond, arguably lesser threat, but no greater threat to this community. This community can be safe with an operational pretrial services program where people are released in so many instances, either with a low bond, with no bond, with a personal surety bond, but people can be released like that, and this community can be safe. That's a fact, but we have to prove it, we have to show it. But let's those who say otherwise, show you're correct. That is, those who are released on bonds, they don't commit other crimes. Show it. Those who are released on a paid bond don't get rearrested. Those who are released on a paid bond always come back to court. Data. Show it. Don't say it. Prove it. I suggest to you those who make that argument cannot prove it.
The truth is that the bail bond industry is making a living off the backs of many people who do not need to be in jail. And that's unethical, and as a person of faith, I call that sinful, actually. It's actually against our Constitution for people to be held in jail because they can't afford a bond. That practice should never be going on. What sort of risk is this person to the community between the time the decision is made and when their situation is going to be dealt with in court? And then secondly, how likely is it that they're going to appear to face whatever the charge is? Those are the two things that should be considered. And pretrial services is the state of the art in terms of giving a judge who has to make this decision the best information that he or she can have to make it.